So, this is what it's like when your parents make good on their threat. You misbehave in the grocery store and they leave you behind, and years later, this is what you see. Or something like that. Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Gary's Mod. And today, the map we're going to be exploring is The Descent. Something which I cannot believe I've overlooked for so long. This actually came out 2 years ago and is by the creator Stub, who I've played so many of their maps on this channel that I can't believe I didn't know about this. But I just randomly decided to look at their profile and scroll back a bit, and here it was. And from the look of it, this is going to be exactly their style, which means this is a perfect fit for the channel. Now, for those who don't know, they made maps that I've explored before, such as Subterranean Complex and the Fever Dreams maps. And basically, they often take the form of these industrial or surreal settings that have a real dreamlike feel to them the more you explore. The music just started. It's very quiet, but it's there. Now, the thing is, as you go deeper into these things, they tend to also have a lot of story and implied lore, which is one of the more interesting things about them. Do you see what I mean? They always look normal at first, but there's always something else hidden just below the surface. I was being literal when I said we have to go deeper. But before we do that, let's take our time and explore the surface a bit. Maybe stop and grab a drink, because it's probably the last chance we're gonna get. Unfortunately, I don't have any quarters, but if we pay close attention, while this world may look normal, that trademark purple sky is present. Do you see that? I feel like everything just flashed for a moment. Ooh, look at that! There's something I don't often see. Not only are the police cordoning off the area with the lights flashing, I can actually see traffic going by on the street behind. So whatever this is, maybe it's one of those waking dreams, the kind that's actually very real. We can enter the doorway over here. Remember, the literal last place you want to go is down, because you have no idea if you're going to be able to get back up or not. Which is why I did not expect to be going up in this moment. Wow. We can actually overlook the police barricade. An angle you wouldn't expect to see past the map boundary. I'm not gonna lie, I thought those were dangling legs from the ceiling for a second. Although I guess no less than 3 burst pipes is also cause for alarm. Well, look at this place. It is a wreck. Could have been cozy at one point. They've got a nice view. Whenever you need something, you just walk right across the parking lot to the grocery store. But this place has clearly seen better days, and now something has happened. Something that's causing holes to form all throughout, although the one in the ceiling may have just been regular wear and tear, given the state of this place. Hey, you. We haven't learned anything yet, but I really love the idea of this whole place having to be sealed off because one day these holes to nowhere just started forming in the ground. Yep. Hey, a pair of you just sitting by and watching the sunset? You can go home now. Waterfront Market. Look, this one actually swallowed up a police car almost intentionally. And they seem to have moved it back. There's all kinds of trees and roots. A pole has fallen over. And yet, instead of being a sinkhole to the abyss, I can actually see, like, basement levels beneath it. Okay, no, see, that's a black hole to the abyss. Well, there are flickering lights down there. I'm not sure I was supposed to come over here. But it did give us a fantastic view, I'll give it that. Before we move on, we could go downstairs a little bit more, right? Come on. Yep. When I execute a successful jump in VR, it just makes me wish that White Knuckle was VR. Hey, as soon as we descend, the descent starts descending. Because there is stuff here. I feel like I'm getting so ahead of myself. Okay, I think we'll see this again, but we'll start our journey in the grocery store, where all epic adventures begin. Based on what we saw down there, it's not just these sinkholes that are forming, it's actually eating through walls as well. Almost like something is down there tunneling. Still, before we move on, I've got to say, I love this sense of stillness beneath all those city lights in the starry night sky, which actually, those two things shouldn't be visible together, and yet they are. We can see, like, the purple tinge to the ground as well, the way it handles even the electric lighting. The lighting on these maps have such a distinct style, and it's only now that I'm really starting to see it cohesively, instead of just as individual cool things. We have basement access here. That might be a little bit more comfortable on the ankles than dropping down. The back area where they keep all the frozen steaks. Don't mind if I do. Although, it looks like this place may have been partially closed off even before. A lot of the merchandise has been vacated. Come on, come on. And here's the manager's office. I wonder if all this hurt anyone when it happened. Hopefully not. It definitely looks like this place was undergoing renovations. This is also kind of a staple of Stubbs maps. The areas that are kind of painted drywall and plywood boarding, all temporary structures. It also featured quite heavily in Subterranean Complex. What's really interesting to me about these sinkholes is these plants, these roots. Almost makes it seem like those are what's causing this. But let's get to the back. We'll walk down the basement way. Save ourselves the trouble. Ooh, this basement goes deeper, much deeper. I don't know why a grocery store basement would need to go down that far. Maybe the grocery store is hiding some secrets? I don't know why it would be, but it's starting to seem that way. Yep, something is definitely doing tunneling. But it seems like the collapse in the floor was more a byproduct, a side effect of coming through here. That's a hidden graveyard in the basement. Bloodstains, there's a gun on the floor, and there's bullet holes in the wall, like they were lined up and shot there and then buried right there. Okay, let's tiptoe over this. Okay, we're reaching deep lore already. I bet it's about to get even deeper. Are we really going to peek through the hole in the wall with the flickering lights? Well, it is my job. Look at that. Stone pathways and old mud bricks as the walls. It's like this thing is built directly on top of some ancient tomb or something. It actually kind of reminds me of GM Butte. Yep, there's that collapse. We could jump down from here. Is there another better way to get around? I don't want to risk falling down. There's so many different paths. Even more evidence of tunneling. This is so weird. But that's a shovel, so it doesn't mean some huge creature burst through the wall. People did this. Maybe the collapse was a side effect of something they were tapping into? Just a failure of construction where they couldn't keep it a secret any longer? Either way, when they left in a hurry. The radio is still on. Here is what goes into the sewers. So the grocery store itself had sewer access. That at least kind of makes sense. The rest, not so much. Okay, so if we come up here, that's that. I think we need to try and make that jump before we continue downward. This is really cool so far. I didn't expect to be getting into this stuff this quickly. Yep. I'm always worried about scraping my head against the ceiling. Little do I remember. This is VR. We can do whatever. Is this going to go back up into the grocery store? And why does all this center around a grocery store? That's like the most interesting part of this for me. I mean, we've explored maps that were underneath a park, underneath a base in the forest. This is a new one, I've got to say. Just a back area. A doorway that I missed earlier. Huh. You never know what's right under your own feet every day, huh? Ooh, look at this. An abandoned back hallway, and I do see that vent. Out into the parking lot. So sometimes doors that don't look openable actually are upon closer inspection. Look at those light shafts coming through here, the motes of dust suspended in the air. Oddly enough, this feels more like the real grocery store. The part that's hidden away from public view and honestly a better representative of what's below. Yep. Come on. Yep. Okay, this is not going to be easy. There we go. Let's now crouch. This is a delicate operation. Yep. Let me in. Let me in. Yep. There we go. Ooh. Wow, we can get all over like this, huh? I need to figure out what the correct angle is for this to actually work. Oh. I guess I didn't need to be so destructive. I just need to check to see if these come out somewhere else. This is a lot of detail put into this. Oh, this is going to take an agonizingly long time. It's so weird crawling through here and hearing that music down below. Okay, make sure our hands are open so that this doesn't open up underneath us. Gripping at the wrong time can cause you all kinds of commotion in VR. But what is this that we're coming upon? Oh, it's above the storage. Wow, this ventilation is surprisingly consistent. If I come to my knees, the game will count that as standing, so that's a nice compromise. Although that is making me weirdly dizzy. Alright, let's get back in. I don't usually get sick playing VR games, but there are certain movements, certain things that do cause me to get a little queasy. All better now, though. Is that vent right there openable? Maybe breakable, but this goes out to the alleyway. Other than that, though, it doesn't seem like there's really much of note here. So, let's just emerge and do this. You know what this reminds me of? There was an old Arthur episode where DW had one of those like imagine sequences about being left at the store or something like that. And she literally becomes the Phantom of the store, like Phantom of the Opera, and just kind of hangs out in the rafters and swoops down to steal food from time to time. When I saw that as a kid, I thought, that's what I want. That's what I want for my life, because that seems so cool. Feared and respected. That's what DW was. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, we need to get downstairs and uncover the secret tomb or whatever. Alright, let's take a look at what tunneling horror is horrifyingly tunneling. Look at this. That is so cool. I wonder if anybody was in that car when it dropped. They certainly weren't expecting what was in their rear view. But yeah, this is a whole makeshift archaeology expedition. And I guess they found what they were looking for. From the look of it, though, whatever they were looking for wasn't happy to be found. Either that or the sinkholes brought attention to all of this, and that's why this thing was sealed off, because the lid was blown off it, quite literally. I guess that's the best case scenario. Ancient statue. Ancient statue suggests a potential worst case scenario. And there are more openings to the right and left. So what is your wisdom? God, I almost can't comprehend that all of this is so close to the surface. Right below, just commercial shopping. Like, how was none of this discovered? Even during the construction of the sewers, it should have been discovered. But here we are. Is there anything behind these tarps? Nope. How about the other side? We gotta clear every angle. And there is something over here. This is the gap we leapt earlier. I definitely just heard something akin to a groan. Right at the moment, I discovered that these aren't just a temple, they're catacombs. This just got a lot more interesting. Hearing whispering. Hearing whispering, and things are getting darker. Okay, this is out onto the tomb. Or I called it a tomb. This looks like something meant to flood. I mean, these grates are wood. They weren't put there for stability by the archaeology team. And that certainly wasn't built by the utility company. However, that might have come from a utility company worker, or an archaeologist, or a cop, or a school child, or Danny DeVito. Really, blood comes from any human or creature. Now, I don't know what these are. I'm not an archaeologist. But to me, they look like morgue lockers. And they're going to remain undisturbed for now. I can't interact with them. It may not be a creature that I'm looking for. I don't know what happened to you to cause all this. But it seems like I got off easy. see that faint purple light? The descent has only just begun. Look at that. It's an entire lost world. Oddly enough, I just had the movie Discovery reaction because I looked down. It was brighter than anything I've seen so far, and paradoxically, my eye's automatic response was to widen. I'm just going to check back here really quickly, yeah, because I remembered I had not discovered this room. Oh no, you did the thing you don't do. You dug up the bones, disturbing their rest however many thousands of years later. That's guaranteed to get a response. And it looks like they didn't have to wait very long either. I had thought of this as an execution, but now that I see these bullet holes along the walls everywhere else, I realize they saw something standing over the graves. Okay, let's stop putting it off. Let's jump down that hole. Only this time there really is going to be no coming back. All right, let's make the descent. I bounced off a tube. Look at this. Oh no. These honeycomb structures imply the existence of some kind of bioluminescent insect life down here. The ancients built over this. Did they worship whatever this was? Or maybe these waters heal. That's probably the best case scenario. Not necessarily the most likely. Still, these tubes, did they fall down or were these already here? That's actually a major question. Hang on. These are embedded in the ground. It sort of seems like they were already here, so that potentially adds another layer. Come on, let me up. There is more construction. Now, here's another question. These light poles, placed by us, or have they actually been lit for all this time? Either way, this stuff has definitely continued to grow after the construction of this place. Yep, these pipes, they're running all through the walls. And the ceilings, that's probably what keeps it from flooding entirely. That's intimidating. You know, when I was younger, two of my favorite movies were The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. This is getting me oddly excited about that, while at the same time, still a little nervous as I have no idea what to expect. Well, we're undescending. Ascending, some might say. But whatever this is, it must be... Yeah, I was going to say, it must be parallel to where the researchers were. Hang on. Wait, let's get the safety Glock for this. It does break open. And we're back up. Okay. Those sounds haven't left us. This map may have been shorter than expected, but it's definitely short and sweet. And it's not like it really needs anything else either. I mean, it just tells a story in a few pictures, and that's what's so cool about it. Descent is such an appropriate name because it feels like you're peeling back layers as you go and adding new dimensions to the story each time, eventually leading to this drop and realizing that even the ancients were dealing with something that maybe we didn't understand. And all of this just right on top of one another. It was also cool playing this retrospectively because, I played a bunch of their later maps after this, and this was basically the year I came to know this creator. And it's really cool that even though it's like a proto version, all the hallmarks of their style are still here. It's gorgeous map design. It's so pretty. It's all so well thought out. And it's got such a unique style in terms of like the lighting. I mean, it really doesn't feel like other maps. And there have been times where I played maps by Stub and only realized it while I was exploring. But I feel like a good way to end this off then would be to do it all in reverse. We fell down, and now we get to rise back up. I'm going to be so embarrassed if I do a no-clip run and find out that there's actually more. But we came out through here. We can see the bullet holes penetrating on the other side. And let's listen to those whispers once more. I guess as a show of respect on the way out. After all, whatever lurks down here, it's allowed us to get this far, and it's allowing us to leave. So far. After all, we weren't the ones who disturbed anything. They were. Alright, right here. There's the sewers. To think that at some point I thought that all of this was a criminal conspiracy by the grocery store. This is why it's important to get all the facts before you start making accusations. I had a really short career as district attorney. Honestly, it felt like one of those tests they give you in school where you go through all these questions, and then the last one says, only do questions 7 and 15. Well, here we are. It only took a few seconds to emerge, but it feels like a whole different world. I actually really appreciate the fact that there's traffic here because it adds to the idea of suppression when you're down there. Makes you feel like, when you make that transition from civilization to being utterly trapped and isolated, I think that's so much better than just having us start down there in the middle of it. That's why I really like horror games where you start off like in your office or driving to the location. But not much more to say about it, but this was a lot of fun. And it's the kind of thing I love on the workshop. The kind of thing that is eye candy and has some scripted spooks along the way and some hidden story. There shouldn't be too much to it, but I guess at this point we can try for a no-clip run. Let's go up first into the skybox. Oop. Look at that dome of purple fog that just hangs over this whole thing. The city looks so huge from a distance. But yeah, all this is actually fairly self-contained. But when you see the cross-section, it all starts to become clear. That cross-section is always so interesting to me. I remember when I was really small, I opened up MS Paint, and I just created like a desert road in the middle of the night, like town lights in the distance. And then beneath it, there was like a tunneling groundhog, and then beneath that, bones, and then dinosaur bones, and like magma. And I just kept on adding to it, and I found it so cool. So I think kind of some of that basic primal appeal is coming to me now. I just love how much of this it leads to implication, because at first it seems like criminal conspiracy and then an ancient curse. We definitely were being haunted by something, and I wonder if that was its own separate thing or if it's being influenced by whatever is down here. There's an implication that maybe they had technology beyond what we would expect, or maybe it's something that even they uncovered and didn't know what it was. It's a multiple choice story, and that's what I love about implication. But I think that's about all there is to see for now, and if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this map out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.